I just like cleaned my bathrooms in record time before starting this stream, so adulting. Okay, so I'm a little shiny because literally like running up and down the stairs and like frantically cleaning, but here we are. How's it going, everybody? I thought we would mix it up a little bit because I have to go back to Play On, and in order to go back to Play On, it means that I'm gonna have to paint some orcs. So, I thought that I would, do this guy on stream because it's my custom Warboss. Hello, I'm gonna like absolutely butcher your name. Aztec Ace? I hope that's what it is. But hello, how are you? I hope that you're well. Hey Kyle, Gear Guts Mech Shop, how's it going? So when I put it on a bigger base because this is what I had. But like it kind of hinders me having it on a bigger base, so I don't think that people are really gonna care because I am not gonna take my orcs to any like tournaments or anything. So it actually hinders me because it means that people can get more models in to fight it. So there's that. Oh, I got it right. Yes, yes, yes. You're live. I am live. I made it. I was frantically cleaning because I have a ton of stuff to do today. So my schedule's like tight. Okay, so when I start a model, I like to sort of look at it in terms of a topographic map because I'm not actually the tightest painter, so I tend to nick things. So I'm going to start with the valleys and then end with the peaks. And I find in doing this, it means I have to do less touch-up later. So when I look at this, since the Warboss is sitting on top of the Squigosaur, or as we call it, Gear Guts, the Dogosaurs, I'm going to start with the Dogosaur. The big Dogosaur, because there's also these little ones. This guy's my favorite with his little commissar hat, and this guy with his little gas mask. So I'm going to start with the big one. I have an idea of what I want to achieve that I think will still work kind of with the style of my army, and it's using two colors that I use kind of sparingly within my army already. So I think it'll all tie in, but it's going to be bright and happy. Because, I mean, look at that smile. He's a happy guy. He deserves some bright colors. So, I'm going to go in and I'm going to start by coating the whole thing in this game color Scarlet Red. This will give me a really nice base, and it'll sort of brighten it up a little bit from the black that it is right now. So that's what I'm going to do. Hey, Zan, how's it going? I hope that you're well. Also, I'm like super sweaty right now, so I'm just gonna... Where's my Bubbly sponsorship, by the way? Like, Bubbly, I know you're not listening, but if you are, call me. Hey, Yorkish Mama, how's it going? I feel like I haven't spoken to you in a really long time, and I'm sorry about that. Kind of like falling off the face of the planet on social media. I was thinking earlier about using the jet bikes from the new Escher cutters as alternative squigogs. I like that. I like that a lot. Squigs are so awesome! Yes, especially when they're giant! Okay, the sippy sippy is done. So let's go in with this Scarlet Red, and I'm gonna dump a bunch of this on the palette. Probably have to add more later. And I'm gonna just grab a giant brush because this process doesn't actually have to be particularly neat and tidy. I fell off too. Honestly, like, I think it's good for our mental health to sort of like fall off of social media every once in a while. At least it is for me. So I'm taking a big brush that I don't much care about because when I base coat, I just sort of like push the paint on in there, and That's really, really terrible for brushes, actually, so... And I'm probably going to end up just doing, like, a couple coats of this in order to keep it nice and thin. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm doing okay. I'm also sweaty. I mowed the lawn and cleared some overgrown plants from the garden. Right? Like, adulting is hard. Like, the last thing I wanted to do was clean the bathrooms, but also I have this, like, weird thing about, like, having a messy home. It doesn't have to be super clean, like I'm not a neat freak. I mean, I am an organization freak, but it doesn't have to be super clean. But once it gets, like, visibly dirty, my anxiety gets triggered, and I'm like, okay, we gotta clean this so I can relax. Oh my goodness. I'm so happy that I'm finally getting to this model. I've had it for months. Kyle designed it for me. This is also my Catachan. It's like my Catachan Warboss. You can see he's got like a cigar and bandolier and a power shovel and stuff. I just absolutely love this model, so I'm so glad that I'm getting to it. I haven't really been playing 40k just because my local area is super freaking competitive right now, and like I can play that way, but I don't want to play that way all the time, and I was just getting super burnt out. So this is nice to have a reason to go play with my friends who are super chill and fun, and will get me back into stuff. So I'm just so happy. And again, this doesn't, like, this base coat doesn't have to be particularly solid. I just want to, like, bring up the whole thing up to a nice red. I don't remember if I've eaten yet today. I'm not hungry, but I'm feeling like the pretty light yard work took more out of me than I should have if I actually had any fuel in the tank. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you just gotta listen to your body though, right? Because, like, there could be all sorts of, like, weird stuff going on. Like, I find when my allergies are really bad, it's cottonwood season right here. I find I get just really run down. But I'm also, like, the worst because I usually fast like 16 hours and then I'll have a meal, maybe. So I should not be preaching about taking care of yourself because I'm not the best at that. Although walking so much now has really really helped me feel a lot better, not only mentally but I think, like, spiritually too. Like, getting out and enjoying nature with my puppy dog has been really good for my self-esteem. And, like, I want to figure out what to do with my YouTube channel. Like, I feel like I'm in a good place mentally to kind of figure it out. So if you're in the Patreon Discord, I was sort of polling everybody and asking their advice on what I should do, because I'm finding with Be Nice Roll Dice, people are just sort of flaking out a little bit. And, like, last minute canceling on me, and then, like, not being very good about rescheduling and stuff, and like, I'm taking it a little bit personally, like, oh, well, maybe they just never really wanted to talk to me, and they were just, like, too nice to say anything, even though it would be nicer if they just said, oh, I'm too busy. So I kind of would like to do something maybe by myself so I don't have to rely on other people, but then the whole, like, concept of the show changes, so I'm sort of in brainstorming mode trying to figure it out. I've learned to accept a certain level of messiness in my house. I just have to live with getting done what I can. Yes. Yep. I don't have children, so It's a little easier to keep my house at least organized, but I have a dog, so there's dog hair everywhere, and I just don't think that that's ever gonna go away. Should I paint the inside of his mouth red too? I feel like I normally do like the inside of mouths Bugman's Glow, because I feel like it's like the perfect tongue color. But this guy's like a little bit. He's gonna be bright and sassy, so maybe Bugman's Glow is too natural. We got time to figure it out. I think I'm just gonna paint it red, and then we can figure it out later. Hello from Brookline, MA. I'm Canadian. Is that Massachusetts? Maryland? Maine? No, Maine's like MN or something. No, that might be Minnesota. There's so many M states. Sorry, I'm really bad with geography. It was never my... Well, the science geography I was okay with, but like place names and like cities and stuff, I was never good with that stuff. I'm bad enough about remembering regular meals to begin with, but my medications are messing with my appetite too now. I maybe need to set reminders for myself or something. Yeah, I am like the queen of reminders. Like, if it's not in my calendar, I don't do it. And, yeah. Queen of reminders. Like, I don't know how I would survive. I would probably, you know what, that's not true. If I didn't have a smartphone, I would have like a day planner agenda type thing, and it would like always be in my hand. I feel like that's how I would survive. I was gonna fill in his like bumhole drainage hole, but then I was like, no, we're gonna leave it. I think it's funny. So I'm leaving his bumhole exposed. It's so warm. I'm gonna just turn on this fan. If it annoys anybody, just let me know and I could turn it off. Last Tuesday I tested positive for COVID. I'm sorry. My new 3D printer happened to be delivered the same day, so I got to have lots of practice whenever I had the energy to work on it. Oh, well, that's a good way to look at the bright side of things. I hope that you're taking care of yourself and, you know, getting lots of rest and eating lots of veggies and stuff. And if you've printed anything cool, I know you can't really put links in the chat, but I mean, you could DM me stuff if you printed some cool stuff. This guy's 3D printed. I don't print my own stuff, but I like to see what everybody else is up to. I mean, having somebody locally who's always willing to print my stuff for me is pretty awesome, but also kind of dangerous. Because, like, my pile of shame is just gonna be outrageous again. Although, I will say, that I can't wait to go back into my inventory list and, like, move things over to the completed side, because now that I have a deadline, like, tons of stuff after this month is going to get moved over to the completed side, and that just feels so good. Like, checking things off of your checklist gives me, like, a little dose of happy chemicals. So I think having some, like, the whole thing about my orc army is that they're super bright. I don't know if there's people in the chat who haven't seen what my orc army looks like. I'll just put this guy in the frame so that you can see. So they're super bright and happy. So I think that having like bright orange and red squigs kind of fit, even though they kind of clash. And again, this looks really streaky and stuff, and that's fine. We're gonna do a second coat once it's dry. And then I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna try and block out what I want the pattern to be. Because I feel like my style is very cell shaded, so I want this guy to have a very kind of bold pattern to him. I think you guys are gonna like it. I think it'll be really cute too. That's the thing, I like my orcs to be cute. Like, I know Kyle wants his orcs to be like brutal and stuff, but just they're so happy. You know, they're just out there living their best life. I'm gonna paint his tongue red. I'm not gonna worry too much about the back of his mouth, because I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to put a really heavy red wash in there, because the primer isn't very thick, so it's more gray than white. It's kind of splotchy. So I think by putting a red wash, it'll just tint the inside of the mouth a really dark red, and I think that will be good enough. Oops, sorry for bumping you guys. I will say, while I really like Vallejo greens and purples, I don't find that their reds are particularly pigmented. But I do like the darkness of this red. It's like really nice for a base coat, even if you do have to do a couple coats. But yeah, every time I hear somebody say painting purple is really hard, I just say, oh, it's hard if you use Citadel purples. I don't know what it is about them, but they are just very hard to work with. But Vallejo got that purple game down. You know exactly what they're doing. Happy Monday! How's it going, Mr. Fish? I hope that you're well. I feel like I haven't talked to you in a long time either. I honestly used to check my Instagram probably like 20 times a day. Like, it was getting ridiculous, and then I just sort of stopped. I check it in the morning, and then I'll check it at night. That's basically it. I'm so much more relaxed and happy now that that I kind of have like a schedule with my social media. I'm not like growing, my posts aren't doing as well, but I'm a lot happier, so I'm pretty okay with accepting my mediocrity with social media. I don't know why, but every time I paint a mini's feet, if I have to paint like the bottom of their feet, I just imagine them giggling because it tickles. Just so that everybody knows too, the roofers are actually still here. So I'm sorry if you end up hearing them. Glad to see you finally painting up this chonky boss. I know, right? Like, it's taken way too long, but I just haven't been playing 40k, so I've been sort of on that Age of Sigmar kick, painting up my Age of Sigmar backlog, which I have a lot of as well. But, you know, there's nothing quite like painting to a deadline to just get things done. I did put him on a bigger base, because this is what I had. Like, the base size he's on is like such a weird size, that I didn't have an extra one, and I don't really have the time to wait for a new one, so here we are. But like I was saying before, it really is a bit of a detriment. Like, it's not modeling for advantage because my opponents can get more models in on him, so that's a sacrifice, but I'm not too concerned about it since this army is basically just like my most fun army. Like, I don't bring it out often, and I only bring it out with like super cool people to play with. Okay, so now I'm starting the second coat and just trying to get a little bit more pigment on them so that I can start doing the fun design. But I do really need it to be kind of brighter on the bottom for sure. Going through my pile of potential today. It's a glue day. Nice. Yeah, I went through and I inventoried all of my gray. So now it's good to know like what's in there. Because sometimes, like most often actually, when I start to get anxiety about something, my brain tells me it's like way worse than it actually is. So now that I know what's in there, anxiety brain doesn't get to make up stories. Okay. Have has anybody in the chat ever painted to a deadline? And do you have any advice on like dealing with the stress of it all? Because I tend to make a rough timeline of when I need to finish things by. And that kind of helps me out. I think I'm going to sign up for an event in October. Hopefully the deadline will motivate me to actually paint something. The glue and the gray. Honestly, like, I kind of like putter along, and I because I don't really play video games anymore, and I don't really watch TV or movies or anything like that. So I kind of just always putter along, but having that motivation to actually get stuff completed is really It's really good for me. Because otherwise I kind of like float around a little bit and I can sort of take my time and it's all loosey-goosey, and then as soon as I have a deadline, it's like, oh, it's go time. And I know that I could do this because I've done something similar to this before. So, maybe not this many models, but I painted bigger models before. So, but this is like a very infantry heavy list, so I think I have one truck, one battle wagon, and then one walker, and then everything else is going to be infantry, and then this is my only sort of mounted unit. So it's honestly the list that I created. I worked with Adam Camilleri on it to make a Death Skulls list that I would like. Like, it's a very me list that has lots of tools. It doesn't have as much killing power as maybe a competitive list might like, but that's not really I don't really make lists like that. I make lists to sort of play the mission, if that makes sense. And because we're going to be playing the card missions, I need to have lots of different types of tools. So I'm going to get in there. Can I just push it there? No, just not going to be able to get it. So this sort of thing used to really bother me, is like not being able to get into places. So there's like this teeny, you can't even see it, but there's this teeny little spot like underneath his foot here that I can't reach. And like 3 years ago, I would grab a small brush and like try to get in there, but honestly, once the basing and stuff is on, like, you're not going to be able to even see it. So I'm not going to worry about it. So you're saying I can send you a new expansion to your orc force to just double the amount of unpainted minis in your backlog, right? No. Please don't. Although a kill rig might be cool. I have a hunter rig, but the kill rig might be cool. What else? I don't have like any buggies. Like, I don't have any sort of, I don't have a plane. I don't have buggies. I don't have death coptas. I don't have, like, there's tons of stuff I don't have. I just figure, like, the Death Skulls rules kind of favor infantry, which is funny because they're ludas, they're looters. Like, you would think that they would have rules for vehicles. I mean, they do, but they suck. But yeah. So I just always sort of did infantry, so, yeah. Okay. I really think you guys are gonna like what I'm trying to do with this guy, because he's gonna be so cute. Okay. I think that that's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to let that dry up real nice. And I'm going to show you guys the color that I'm going to be adding to this guy. This is one of my favorite colors. I don't get to use it that often. So while I'm waiting for the to dry, I'm going to get caught up on the chat. I am painting a full army on commission right now. I need to have it done by the end of October. What helps me is starting with the models I'm less interested in. That way as I go, I have things to look forward to. I kind of do that too. I usually like to start with like basic troops that you need a lot of, and then I'll paint something kind of neat, like I'll do like a character or something, and I'll go back and do something that I need more of. I'm in deep number crunch mode. Our local escalation league is culminating into a 2,000 point tourney this Saturday. Ooh, that sounds fun. I'm listening and I'm hearing triple stompas. I mean, if you have one, you might as well have three, right? I'm just joking. I always found out of sight, out of mind, so whatever project I'm working on, I would only assemble and paint one unit at a time, or if everything is assembled already, put it away while you paint. That way you don't get overwhelmed by how much you have to finish still. I'm the opposite. I'm like a very visual person, so as I complete stuff, like, the army that I'm bringing is actually out on the table, like, on that side, you can't see it. But it's all put together. What I have of it is primed. I'm still waiting on some stuff to come back from the printer. And then I'll assemble it all, I'll prime it all, and then as I complete stuff, I add it back into the army, and then it's kind of like a nice visual to show me like how much I have left. That's a big chomper! Right, Mark? Isn't he cute? I love him. What glues do y'all use? I'm struggling with what I'm using now and it is infuriating. I really like this stuff. The pink one, because it's extra thick, so it's like a gel. So it like stays where you put it. Also, when the nozzle gets clogged, you can just trim it. Like you just take your nippers or whatever and just trim it off and it opens it back up again. So I really like this stuff. I've used the Gorilla Glue gel before. It's pretty good. Basically any cyanoacrylate that is like a gel, I really like that. And as for plastic glue, I prefer again like a thicker glue. I tried the Tamiya Ultra Thin and I don't like it. It dries ultra fast, so you have to be really like fast on putting the pieces together. So I don't like it. I like the idea of the brush applicator, but I just can't get that stuff to work really good. I used to use testers, but you can't get it anymore. So there's that. But yeah, that's what I like. I find that the thicker cyanoacrylate is just like, I guess, more convenient to use. Okay, I'm gonna need like a bunch of this orange. I'm gonna have to do another order, I think, to Monument Hobbies too. Because I'm almost out of this orange. And I love it. Okay. So this is the orange that I'm gonna be putting on this bad boy. So cute and bitey, exactly. And yeah, recast is resin. Resin really likes cyanoacrylate glue. I don't know if anybody uses anything other than cyanoacrylate, but seems to be a little bit thinner. I've had this particular orange for a while, so she's a little thick. And yeah, so just when you're using cyanoacrylate, just keep in mind that it uses moisture to bond. So if you're like me and you live in a really dry place, it sometimes is a little bit difficult to get it to bond. So sometimes if you just like kind of like breathe on the contact point, it'll sometimes make that contact a little bit like it'll glue a little bit faster. And again, this doesn't have to be perfect. We're gonna go in and we're gonna clean it up after. And again, this is probably gonna need 2 coats because it's so bright. Bright colors are really difficult to use. Just because there's doesn't tend to be as much pigment in the medium, so and the mediums are different. They're very transparent. They're not opaque, so it's really hard to get a better coverage with them. So you just sort of have to be patient, do a few coats, make sure it's pretty watery. And I'm going to do a little bit of wet blending on him at the transition point. But it's not going to be like super blended. It's going to be it's going to be, I'm not going to say subtle. It's not going to be subtle. It's going to be very bold and in your face, because that's kind of what I like. Okay, where do I want this orange to kind of end? On the front, like here. Man, when I first started painting, I was so careful. Like, even my base coat's super careful. Not no more. So I went up a little higher here. So I'll take it up a little bit more. And I think also, like, when you're painting more organic things, like this cutie guy, I think that you have a little bit more, like, it's a little bit more forgiving. You don't have to be super precise, because nature isn't super precise in most cases. So I'm gonna do a transition where I'll probably wet blend, and then I want to do spots in the transition line too. That's the idea. He's gonna be spotted, but not everywhere. Just like at the midline. And now I want chicken wings. Those are some juicy looking legs. Just a little bit thick. It's so funny, the Forge the Narrative crew quite often talk about like when we're in the green room or whatever, we quite often talk about like chicken wings and tacos and like delicious things. We're like, oh man, if we ever get together, we should go out for tacos. Oh man, if we're ever together, we should go out for beer and wings. Like, it's like we like food or something. I know that this doesn't look good right now, but I promise by the time I get done, it's gonna look awesome. And you'd be like, I didn't see that coming. Also, it has to be asked because I am the child. Does the squig have a butthole? Yeah, you missed it at the beginning of the of the show. I was like, I was gonna fill it in, but then I was like, nah, it's funnier that he has a butthole. So you're not the only child in this chat room right now. I also thought the butthole was funny. It is just a resin drainage hole is what it is, but now it's a butthole. Buffalo wild squigs? I mean, that sounds delicious. I mean, this guy's gonna be the right color for it. And the transition is gonna go along there. And it doesn't have to be perfect. We're just sort of blocking out the colors right now. Squig-a-licking. Thank God I am not alone. No, you're not. And I actually, before I started streaming, I turned to my husband and I was like, I wish I had better green stuff skills so that I could actually, like, green stuff an actual butthole. That would be, like, the best. I got out of my feelings? Oh, have I missed any discussion about your orc skin recipe? No, I haven't gotten there yet. We're just doing the squig right now. And that first coat looks real shit. I know, but we're gonna fix it. Well, I mean, it's not fixed. It's like a natural part of the process with this orange. So now I'm adding. Well, that was too much water. I'm gonna add more paint. I'm gonna need more paint anyway, so I'm gonna add more paint. I need to get another one of these. Okay. So now I'm gonna go in and do a second coat. This one might need a third coat. We'll have to see. Yeah, it's gonna need a third coat. That's okay. And I prefer using a big brush on these like upper layers, just because I find that the streakiness is a lot less. So I like to use the biggest brush I can get away with for this. But for my Orc Skin Recipe, it starts off, these are all Vallejo colors. So it starts off with a base coat of military green. They are all, by the way, model color. None of these are game color. So military green. And then I wash with Athonian Camo Shade. And then I use flat green. And then I use lime green. Lime green? Olive green. I use olive green. And then I use lime green. And then I use, it's a fluorescent yellow. And that's the recipe. But it's a pain in the butt. Everything else about the orcs does not take a very long time, but the skin is one of two like focal points on the models, so that takes a long time to do. Might be trying out my Defcopta plus Squig Hog list tonight. Ooh, sounds aggressive. Depends on how many 40k versus AOS games happen. Yeah, my local scene at like our game store game night is pretty much all AOS now. With a little bit of Star Wars Legion. Although my husband and I played Mythos on Saturday. Because I had test played my Ogre list on the Friday before, so we played Mythos, which is really fun. My husband was 0 wins, 2 losses against me in our Mythos career, but he eked out the win on Saturday. It was a 1-point game, so close. That's my favorite. We're still trying to like figure out the tactics of our factions, because like we know that there's tactics built into them, we just sort of have to figure it out, you know. If there's Buffalo Wild Squigs, does that mean that there's also Orc Rinds? What would eat orcs, though? Oh, an impromptu meeting. Nice to pop in. Aw, thanks for stopping by, Rob. Orc Rinds. That's great. I don't think I'd want to eat an orc though. I just feel like they would taste like gasoline. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. That's just sort of like the feeling I get. You know, in my heart of hearts, gasoline. What do you think an orc would taste like? Because, like, I know they're supposed to be basically sentient mushrooms, but I don't think that they would taste like a yummy mushroom. Okay, we're getting there. Already the coverage looks a lot better, but it is still a little bit streaky, so we are going to have to do another watery coat. This is... Everybody asks me, how do you get your coats so smooth? And this is it. You just keep putting watery coats on until you don't see brush strokes anymore. Until the paint is super pigmented. There's really no secret other than that. That is... It's patience in your base coats. That is basically the secret to my paint style. Spinach and dirt. Real fear, cream of mushroom soup. How was the orc creamed? Oh dear. Oh dear. I'm not even gonna go there. Yeah. I could see them tasting a bit like dirt. For sure. But yeah, I don't know. I just think I just feel like they would just taste like chemicals and like not good things. It's basically like, will it blend? But instead of an industrial blender, it's an Emperor's Children Chaos Lord with dual chainsaws. Orcs eat grots all the time and they seem fine. Yeah, but see, that's what they eat. So, like, you are what you eat. You know what I mean? I just feel like grots probably don't taste very good either. Maybe I won't wet blend. Maybe I'll just like do a one-to-one mix of these two colors and then paint a transition on. Maybe that's what I'll do. And see how that goes. And then I could blend that out if I really need to. It'll be easier to blend it out. Wet blending is just really hard in the summer in the desert, so maybe we'll try to not wet blend first. See how that looks. And then sort of blend the transition between those sort of 3 bands if I really need to. Okay. I'm gonna let that one dry, and I'm gonna mix a 1-to-1. And then I'm gonna paint this transition on. Plot twist, orcs are less edible mushrooms and more edible mushrooms. 1 bite and you're seeing stars. That would be like the worst trip ever, I feel like. Do orcs have taste buds? I would think not. Is there a type of symbiotic squig that can fulfill that purpose? Probably. There's squigs for everything. Okay. I'm gonna do a little transition here. Not along the lips, though. Lips are gonna stay. This needs some water. Yeah, this is gonna need a little bit of blending at the transition, but it'll be easier than wet blending the whole thing. Don't like the orc. Just wake up a week later, absolutely jacked and covered in blood. You got no clue where you are, but you got the munchies bad. That sounds awful. I don't want to do that. Oh, the roofers are back. So I'm doing the transition now because I'm anticipating at least 1 more coat of that orange. So when I go in and I do the next coat of orange, I can actually blend this transition out, saving me like a little bit of time. But I'm going to do 1 more coat of this transition color. Just so we can get a little bit more coverage. It doesn't have to be perfect, just we're going to be blending it. in fact, this looks better if it's not like a super precise straight line. So if it's a little messy, it's gonna look a little bit better. Okay. Like, Tanya, where you been? Last time we saw you, you were swinging a prosthetic leg over your head like a flail and running into the sunset. That sounds absolutely terrible. That guy is totally git-faced. Oh my god. You should hear me while starts randomly bashing people. I need a shirt now that says git-faced and also go lick an orc. Git-faced. What up, you gits? How's it going, Jude? Git-faced. Oh man. It should actually say totally git-faced. You know, just a little extra. Also, my poor palette, it just like cannot handle the summer. Let's do this. This helps. It's slightly better. Okay, so now we're gonna blend out on the orange side as we do that next really watery layer. So this will be a little bit more finessed. Okay, I'm gonna start underneath. Work my way up. Tired? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. You're painting the Tanya Dogosaur. I am, finally. I'm finally doing it. Needs more water. Okay, so I'm gonna work on this little bit here. I'm gonna take a little bit more of the transition color. And we're gonna just blend them together. And a bit more of that transition color here. Sometimes you'll find that there's spots on a model that just don't seem to be taking color. It could just be because the paint is quite wet. So sometimes you'll have to let it dry and then go back and blend it again. So I've got a little spot here that just won't really take the pigment. So I'm gonna let this dry and then I'm gonna go back and hit it again. Work on this part here. when you're tired of being nice and rolling dice, it's time for being totally get-faced. What would totally get-faced be about? That's what I want to know. Totally get-faced could be like a cross between Drunk History and a Warhammer lore series. Oh dear. Man, that would actually require me to do so much, like, studying and research to do anything on Warhammer lore. Because I am not well-versed at all on the lore. There's just too much of it. It's overwhelming and I don't know where to start. I'm back. Little need some snacks. I also need snacks. Totally Get Face needs to be made. It has been written. It is law. Oh my goodness. Okay, well I mean like I'm considering it. Just don't know like what it would like really be. What would it be? That's too much paint there, Tanya. Spot just really doesn't want to take any paint, but I think that that's still okay. I have like a little bit of a line there. I'm trying to blend it out, but it's not really working, so I'm just going to go in and stipple a little bit in here just to make that transition line like a little bit less noticeable. Blend it out a little bit. Let's see here. Totally Get-Faced 40k lore would be the best series ever. One Orc's take on Umi history. Oh my gosh. I feel like this would need to be a Kyle-driven product, honestly. Loving the vibrant colors. Thanks. Yeah, I'm actually really liking how the stippling looks along here. So I think I'm going to continue doing that, and then I'm going to go in and do the same thing, but like down into this transition color. Because I actually really am enjoying that. I think it looks kind of cool. So that's what we're going to keep doing. This little bit here just... Will it blend? No. No, it won't. It will not blend. But yeah, I think that that looks good. I think once we bring the red back down and like blend it in, I think that this will look exactly like what I had in mind. I had a game with Mr. Fish the other day before yesterday, and he brought his Tanya boss to the game. It managed to last into turn 2 or 3 before going down. I hope it took down so much stuff. Like, I hope that little squig got to have a good snack. Oh, what a podcast that would be. Premise: find a few friends who also don't know that much about Warhammer. Each episode is a topic, and a shot is taken every time someone needs to look something up. One get just drunkenly talking about orc lore. I don't know how much audience there is for a podcast that's just 10 minutes of stuttering lore discussion followed by 40 minutes of drunken puking. Yeah. I mean, Kyle, I'm gonna send you. I'm gonna send you a message. I know you don't drink, so it'll probably just be me drinking. But maybe we should make this happen. Because nobody tells an orc story quite like Kyle. Okay, it's getting dry in this room. I need to get a humidifier or something. So, this blending is gonna be difficult. But we gonna do our best. Oh, it's my doggy's lunchtime. Whenever it's his lunchtime, he sasses whoever is feeding him. It's actually quite cute. Like, he's half husky, so he likes to talk. How to Kill Your Friends, the podcast. Concerned, but okay. He managed only a few knobs before my Artel W boss came along and stomped on the poor thing's tail. For my small knob mob finished her off. Aww. That makes me so sad. That's not even a snack. That's like an appetizer. The taste. Okay, let's do some stippling or stifling, however you prefer to say it, in this transition zone. Actually, I think this needs a little bit more of this first. I feel a little bit better about that. I'm gonna have to come down on this side and fix it there, but I'm gonna do a little bit of stippling now. Stippling. I'm gonna say it both ways because I'm not sure exactly how you're supposed to say it. Munched on a bunch of knobs, but the bonuses it gave the other Snagga boys helped even more. Nice. What you painting today? This is the Warmistress Warboss on Dogosaur. And so I'm just working on creating a blended transition between the orange and the transition color right now. So you can see this is what it looked like before, and this is where we're going now. And then I'm going to bring the red back down into the transition color the same way. So that's what I'm working on right now. This stream might be a little bit longer just because I want to get this transition done. I'm gonna go in ahead and do another coat of the orange, and I like to use the side of the brush when painting big spaces. Big brush, use the side. Just trying to get that nice and opaque. Okay. This little toesy needs a bit more. Remember, Mr. Fish, it was your dreads that killed most of my knobs. Ooh, I do love a good dread knot. Not saying I rolled like 9 ones amongst a series of attacks. Definitely didn't help. Ah, it happens. Or just a normal orc on a squig. No, that's the Warmistress Warboss. It can be used for either Mozrog or the Beast Boss. Yeah, I'm probably just gonna use it as a regular Beast Boss. Personally. Gotta go get in the carpool line. Ooh. Aw, I missed having you here, Orcish Mama. I thought to have one or the other, you would have to buy a separate kit. No, usually they make the same, but this is, because this is a third party, I can basically make it whatever I want. Have you decided on the little squig schemes yet? They'll be painted the exact same way that I painted them on the other Warmistress Warboss. So they'll be the orange color. It's clearly pronounced Stippling? I've heard it pronounced either way, so it's obviously not clearly. Game overall was a blast. I got to run my Gorkanaut for the first time, spat out loads of DACA, and tanked a bunch on rockets. I still lost on points, but I had more left at the end. Well, then you both won. I like this model. I plan on using the Beast Boss on Squigosaur for the HQ of my Orc army. Can't go wrong, really. I'll be building. I'm going to be teaching people with that army, and I wanted them to have a cool model. It's a very cool model. Also, interesting facts, orcs are agender, as they are, for the most part, a fungus. Correct. There's even one of the novels that talk about preferring they-them pronouns. not sure. I've read a few novels. They're kind of all over the place. You can use this model either as Mozrog or used as the Beast Boss. Yeah, exactly. That's the cool thing about third parties. They can basically be like whatever you want. Okay, so I'm gonna attempt to blend out this part I was having trouble with before. Attempt. Yeah, I don't know why this spot here is a little bit difficult. But it's okay. We'll get it. We get it. Datem, please. Uh, yes, they do have problems with TH in every single audiobook I've ever heard with orcs. I'm gonna refer to the Tanya boss as she, since Tanya is a woman, so it makes sense. I do go by she, her pronouns. And it is my warboss. I kind of feel like orcs wouldn't care what you call them. Like, they're kind of like no gender, but all genders. It's kind of how I see them. They kind of like... They're just kind of everything. Okay. I feel like we need more spots up here. Orcs are not a monolith. I'm sure they have many different preferences. That's very true. 10, yeah, the Warmistress has been leading my league army for a few months and has been an absolute savage on the table, running along 3 Smash-a-Squigs and a Kill Rig just to lock down everything. I can't believe how big the footprint of the Kill Rig is. Like, it's huge. And, I mean, it's also super deadly, but, like, that thing is ginormous. Like, those people who were putting, like, 3 of them on the table, like, how do you deploy that? You know? Like, doesn't it just, like, take up your entire deployment zone? It's nutty. Umi's got all the problems with D's. D's? Oh, D's. The only roadblock they found was a big old git called a Gorkanut. You like my Morkanaut and Gorkanaut? But I brought them to play on last time, so it's time for something new. Just don't... What? Don't call them late for the yeah. Other than name, everything else would be mucking about and overly complicated. May or may not have a second one on the way. Ooh. Fun. Let's get some blend on here. Actually, I'm going to do a little bit of another coat on here. Again, sorry for the roofers if you can hear them. I thought that they'd be done last week, but here they are. Still here. Killrig has a huge footprint and has keyword soup. Can do almost anything for the orcs. Yeah, I like the huge footprint. I feel like not only does it like do all the cool things, but it can also block off huge portions of the table. And I like that. Control is key. Yeah. Every time I drop a 3D printed model, I'm like, please don't explode. Please don't explode. But we're good. This guy's a bit chunky, so should be good. What are you? Orc Weasel Orcs Imperium. No, what's in your pants? Shoot a for Mortake. Exactly. I don't think that the Imperium actually gives a crap about gender identity. There's tons of instances in the books and stuff of like gender ambiguous folks. Especially when they start getting like augmetics and stuff. So yeah, I kind of get the feeling that is one aspect of the Imperium that's like not completely backwards. There's not that many of those instances, but in this case, that's what I kind of get the feeling of. Like, I think that there's a few instances of Imperial worlds whose culture is like a little bit weird on gender, like the Valhallans. They're an Imperial Guard regiment. They're a little bit like women should have babies. Why are you fighting in the Imperial Army, right? So there's a few instances that I've read of that, but those are really few and far between. So doing the final highlights on my second Death Dread. Nice. I'm gearing up for the next fight between the Gitman and Mr. Fish. Oh, the next fight. Grudge match. You gonna bring a bunch of new stuff or just a new Death Dread? Says the engine seer. Parts are parts, people are people. People with parts are superior. Exactly. You know, some of the factions could be argued as pretty progressive in some ways, to most definitely not. Hey, Caden, how's it going? Hydra Queen, yeah, I think like the Imperium, like I think we need to understand that like the Imperium is vast on a scale that like nobody can comprehend. So you're gonna find all sorts of different people in the Imperium. So some of those people will be quite progressive. Some of those people will not be. And they're very varied. So and that's cool, right? Like not every culture is going to be like some utopia, right? Every culture has its flaws and the things that are kind of special about it and nice. And I think for the most part, the Warhammer lore does a pretty good job of getting that across. Like, pretty much every world is corrupt, right? Because, like, absolute power corrupts absolutely. But the people under them are, and the culture itself that they live by are not, like, defined by that corruption. The next fight is probably going to be a ways off for a while, and I'm likely going to be out of the hobby for a while because I'm running out on texture paint. I also was running out. But if you have glue, and you can find some sand, you can still continue on, unless you use the texture paint for like actual paint and not just for basing, in which case I can't help you, but I can help you get texture on bases without the texture paint if you want. Playing my Ultramarines against my friends Orcs this Wednesday. Always excited to play against Orcs. They're just so much fun. I know, right? And they're so cute. But to answer, I might go the Dread Mob route instead of the Goth Horde route. Neat. I really like Dreadnoughts. I like the Walkers in general. I think they're super cool. Okay. I know it looks poopy from the red down, but it's gonna look good. I promise. But you can see the difference between like here, all done, and over here, not done yet. So then I did half. I gotta do this half now, but it's taking forever. It's like when your friend asks, who's the good guys in 40k, and you spawn with, oh, we don't do that around here. Exactly. I mean, honestly, I think the orcs are probably like the closest thing to good guys, because they're just looking to party. Right? Like, they actually don't care about, like they're not xenophobic. They'll like just literally fight anything and anyone. They'll fight each other. They don't care. They're just looking to have a good time, you know? And I find that admirable. Also, I just love that they think Commissar Yark is neat. He's just neat, you guys. Like, they believe he's invincible, so he is. It's pretty fabulous. I should really read some of the Commissar Yark stuff, because it just seems like a great story. I'm having trouble like matching up how high up the orange goes, but I think that with the stippling I can match it. Like that. Just gonna have to go up like that. Okay. I'm gonna finish this little spot here, and then I have to run out. I have a bunch of errands that I have to do, which sucks. But I'm gonna finish this little bit. I would say the Tyranids are the closest thing to not evil. I mean, after all, they are still basically animals, hive mind or no. Yeah, that's true. They're probably neutral like the orcs are. But the orcs can at least make friends, you know? Right? I love that, like, Commissar Yarrick and Gaz is like the greatest love story in Warhammer 40k. Just makes me so happy. I can't leave his little booty without the little dots. His little freckles, you guys. Okay. I think once all the red dots are put on, I think it's gonna look freaking great. Do you like his little freckles? I'm so excited. I think that this is gonna look so cute. I mean, it already looks cute, but I think it's gonna look cuter. Should his, the Squigosaur be called Freckles? I feel like that name is really cute, and I think it's a juxtaposition to how absolutely boss and scary this thing is. What do y'all think? Freckles? Either Freckles or Snookums. Oh, my little Snookums! Yeah, Nids are amoral. Yeah, morals don't mean anything to them. Correction, they think that the only one who could kill Yark is Gazgul, because that's what Gazzy said about Yark. Are Squigs legs with a mouth, or are they a mouth with legs? Definitely a mouth with legs. 100%. Orcs don't really have a word for friend or ally, but what they do have, favorite enemy. Aw, it's basically friends. It's like besties. Frenemy. What she means is orcs are able to at least make allies even if they are only short term. No, I meant friends. Freckles for the win. Yeah, but yeah, 2Ks for sure. Freckles. I'd say call him Blowfish. No! No. Freckles. Okay, well, I do have to run out. I have to go get my prescription. But I really like his like cute little freckles. I think once the red freckles go into the transition, I think that it's gonna look super cute. And then I want to bring each of the colors into, like, I want to bring some red into the orange, and I want to bring some orange into the red as well. So I'm gonna play around with that. I have like a ton of other painting to do, so I don't know. I might be working on this next week too. It sort of depends when my stuff comes in from the printer and how far along I get with my my tin bot Burnaboys. Um, so this is what I've been working on, and then yeah, if then I'll work on my Mega Knobs because I have a few more that I have to do, and then if I don't get my stuff from the printer, then I'll have to work on this guy. But if I get my other stuff from the printer, then I'll work on this guy next stream as well. But I'm gonna finish the transition colors because I don't want to remix all that paint. So yeah, the transition will be done, and then we can move on to working on some more details. So I hope that that was pretty fun for you, and I hope that you can kind of see my vision with the bright colors. I really, really want him to like stand out on the battlefield. Go, go, go. All right, I'm gonna get caught up on the chat, and then I'm gonna go and run my errands. So let's see. Frunkles, Fraggles. Okay, so his name is now Freckles, and I'm in love with it. So that was a really good session. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, everybody. And yeah, if you need anything from me, send me a message. anywhere pretty much, and I'll get back to you. But until next time, be nice and roll dice. Bye, everybody.